Breaking news, breaking news. The US Congress are now saying they will not back Igbo presidency. They say all what they want is freedom. And we'll be seeing the move that Ngozi Oronbose have been making, even wanting to become a senator in Georgia in US. And the Congress are saying no, they will not back Igbo presidency. All what they know is what Biafra freedom, and that's what will finally end the genocidal killing in Nigeria. What's your take?
It tells you that the Igbo presidency will not be able to stop the jihad that is going on in Nigeria currently now. It tells you that Obi presidency at the end of the day might likely be sabotaged by the ideological extremism, that has taken over Nigeria over the years. Well, the question we need to ask ourselves, can Obi presidency stop jihad in Nigeria? The answer is for you there to say yes or no on the comment section while we push this particular narrative all over the world and let the international community and world leaders know the perception and the need for people to understand that Biafra remains the solution at the end of the day. Like they always say that the Igbos who are the Jews, I said the Igbos who are the Jews carries the blood of freedom around them wherever they go, anytime, any day. So the position of the world leaders and the Congress, that's the breaking news after a reported meeting with Dr. Ngozi Oronbose, who is also contesting for the position of a Congress or Senate in US, has been reported that he met with top functionaries of Trump government, top officials of Trump government, congressmen and other people in Washington, and they are actually agreed that the best option to save not Peter Obi, not anybody, is to create a safe nation. They have been talking about it. They have insisted, they have even get to a point of, getting to know the Israeli government, and of course, making sure that they push that narrative to the Knesset in Parliament in Israel. And of course, today they came to that resolution and that conclusion that they are taking that position that Biafra is the best option for the Christians in Nigeria, and that the Obi presidency was just a camouflage by the Northerners to disguise and possibly manipulate and confuse the American government not to look inwards because of Obi presidency. And before you know it, Trump tenure would have elapsed. Then all hell will be let loose. And they're saying the Sultan, the Caliphate agenda cannot deceive American president with Obi presidency now. And secondly, they also, in that papers, document that was actually signed, it was clear that we saw very clearly that there's going to be massive approach, legally and otherwise, using every means possible to make sure that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu leaves Sokoto prison, gets his freedom before the final recognition and proclamation of recognition of Biafra as a sovereign nation. That is the breaking news this morning, from Washington, D.C., that we are telling you live on this platform, that it has become a reality and it has triggered a lot of jubilation and celebration, among lovers of freedom all over the world. And that is what it is.
Was this bag that Nigeria are finally expired, the 100 years as regards the amalgamation of Nigeria? Do you think that with what Trump and the Congress are saying now, do you think that they know deep down their hearts that the country called Nigeria supposed to be divided?
When you see Americans talking about Biafra, talking about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, talking about a lot of people, a lot of things happening in Nigeria, making it public on every public hearing, like John James said it very clearly, that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu remain the only solution for what is happening in Nigeria. And what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is saying, he's a US congressman, he's here currently now. You can go and find out. Now you can see a lot of congressmen talking about Biafra. Before you get to that point where these people started discussing about the division of Nigeria, you know that very clearly it has gotten to a point that any moment from now, options, I can keep on saying it, options and decisions will be taken at the end of the day, and that is what it means. So it clearly tells you that division is inevitable and Biafra is inevitable. That's what they are telling you. That Nigeria can no longer coexist with, nobody want to live with this kind of situation in Nigeria where we are fellow human being as a result of faith does not want to see you alive. It cannot happen. Even in Israel, it cannot happen. So they have looked at it critically, deeply, and have come to the conclusion that, and that's why they are saying, making very clearly to King Charles when he visited Donald Trump those 3 days ago, the issue of breakup of Nigeria, also came up, and we saw the reaction of King Charles in that regard, where he said that the weight of America, should be taken wherever, anytime, any day. You know what you mean by the weight of America? That means any decision America takes is final. So, and America is taking decision on a former colony of Britain, and the decision is that they want to create a safe nation for Christians in Nigeria, and it is going to be recognized and be called, sovereign state of Biafra, and that is what they have come into conclusion. And thank God they have also made it very clearly, according to report, as a leaked memo coming from that meeting, that Obi presidency is just a disguise, by the caliphate themselves to maybe deceive or confuse the U.S. government on taking the rightful decision on Nigeria after maybe they put Obi there for 4 years. And before Obi become president, Donald Trump tenure would have expired, and there's possibility at the end of the day Obi candidacy might be disqualified. And sensing that sensitivity, they said no, that the best option is to make sure that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is being freed. And we are also hearing that Rally Mao also has paid a secret visit to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, has been reported in Sokoto prison. So secretly, with that federal government also knowing about it, that they flew in and there was a secret agreement. A lot of things were agreed, and now that, and he quickly, went back to United States of America after visiting Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in Sokoto prison, has been reported. So you see very clearly, that the thing has actually gone to a point that, the center can no longer hold now. What the world leaders are planning is different totally from the under, and you can see that is why, if you notice for some time now, the federal government has not been reacting to international issues anymore. It seems that there are broken ties, diplomatic ties among nations currently now that has engaged themselves in Nigeria in the past. Look at what is happening in South Africa. The government are not reacting. They seem less concerned. But you can see other African countries reacting to the issue of xenophobia in South Africa. So, but the government has been quiet over time, especially, so a lot of things is actually going on in Aso Rock, signaling that a major split and collapse of government has already taken place within the environment of Abuja as I'm talking to you.
But you just like you said, when Jonathan was in power, we saw how the Boko Haram and what have you became more intense by them kidnapping girls in school, Chibok girls and what have you. Do you think when Obi finally enter, do you think he can solve the insecurity? And at the same time, do you not think this is why the Congress are saying that if Obi enters, he can't solve the insecurity because because he's not a northerner, and this jihad will increase the intensity as regards the insecurity in Nigeria because he's not a northerner?
That report is quite exclusive, and it's quite confidential, and you can see the amount of money Atiku is pumping within the U.S. government now to lobby the image, not to lobby the image of Atiku, is to lobby the image of the United States government not to take a proper decision about Nigeria, to destroy the caliphate, the Sokoto caliphate, that have been seen as a major sponsor of jihad in Nigeria. Don't think that 1.2 million that Atiku gave United States of America lobbyist firm is for his own district. No, they still want to see how a directive and that direction will change at the end of the day. That's what it means. So I can tell you that at this point now, what is important is what the kind of sensitive report and confidential report the United States of America is having about Obi presidency at the end of the day. And they're saying that Obi has less than 4 years be in power. And can he use that 4 years, to stop an ideology, a radicalized ideology that have taken place since 18th century till now, that have not stopped. So that tells you a lot about what kind of classified information Americans are having, and why the Northerners are actually pushing for Igbo presidency now. So, and I cannot be able to stop genocide in Nigeria, because the infiltration and the sabotage is already laid down plan. There's a laid down plan for that, until their aim is actually achieved. And what is their aim? To make sure that they are able to dip Quran in the southern part of Nigeria. And that's what America has said, that having looked at this thing critically, that I think the best option is to create a nation for Christians in Nigeria.
But Sultan is saying only unity can bring progress to Nigeria. He said he's ready to back Igbo presidency. A lot of people are saying, is it because of his own way he's coming to say this, because of the move that the US government are making as regards Nigeria breakup? Do you agree with Sultan Sokoto that Igbo presidency must be now?
Yes, and let me just tell you, and when you say that the Fulanis are very cunning and smart, and they are very patient people too, because they know how to navigate, they know what to do. When you see rhetoric is coming from that angle, it tells you clearly that that they prefer the division of Nigeria than to have Obi as president in Nigeria. That's what the picture is. That's what actually they are painting. Telling you that they have this deep reservation. About they are a bit comfortable with. Let me just put it with their friends in Southwest. Let me just put it that way. But when it comes to the Biafran people, they have this agitation, anger in them that these people has refused to surrender. And that is why we are seeing reaction from the lieutenants, from the subjects, saying that they prefer Nigeria to separate than to have a Christian like Obi, from Anambra State, former governor of Anambra State, become the president of Nigeria. So it gives you an insight on how deep the division has become, mentally, consciously, and otherwise. The only thing that they are afraid of losing is the resources they are going to use to be sponsoring conquest in Nigeria will be totally be denied of them. That is not fear, So, and they don't know the actual magic that is going to happen under Obi presidency at the end of the day. So there is this suspicion that it is better, that when you see them talking about unity, no, they are not talking about unity in the real sense of it. The unity they are talking about is how to manipulate and navigate their way to lay their hand on the resources of the thank God that the Niger Delta people now have risen with a political party. Then I don't know how they're definitely going to survive when this northern, this southeast and south come together now as a bloc, because it's like what Obi is projecting, because we saw that we just noticed that there's possibility that the Nigeria Democratic Congress was actually a Jonathan's party, and that Jonathan want to use it, to negotiate Nigeria. I'm telling you, it's possible, and who is he fronting there? He's fronting from our governor, from his state, Seriki Dixon. So there's possibility, that Jonathan has understand very clearly, like he always question, that Nigeria can never be one, that until Nigeria becomes one, there will be disunity. Until Nigeria becomes one, there will be disunity. So the best option, that he said it very clearly. Awolowo did not agree. Azikiwe did not agree. Tafawa Balewa did not agree. It is only Britain that said, these people must come together, because the plan is that to push Nigeria under Islamization so that they'll be able to control the resources in Biafran land. And that is the message. And Jonathan has said it several times. Even when he tried to bring the issue of confab 2014, we saw the reaction of the North, that the Nigerians have no constitution of their own. Nigerians have not sat down and said, no, this is how we want to be governed. These are the rules and regulations how we want to govern. As Jonathan was trying to project that nationalism and unity, they manipulated the process, used Barack Obama and the rest of them, and moved Jonathan out of power. today, Para is suffering the consequences of it. You know, Ondo is already under attack as I'm speaking to you now. You know, so and they are ready to welcome that development. The only threat they are having at this point in time is the people of Biafra, and that is what it is, and that is what it remains. So at this point, you can see now that we are trying to escape from the already Islamized political party in Nigeria. Like the Canadian government all said it very clearly that PDP is a terrorist organization. PDP, APC too, you know, it was a Canadian government that reported that. So we need to move out from these caliphated political parties in Nigeria. Something like Sokoto Caliphate political party in Nigeria, and that's why we are seeing that we are now having a southeast political party called Nigeria, you know, Democratic Party in that regard. So we will use it, you know, to checkmate all these excesses we are seeing at this point in time, and of course build unification between the already politically divided old eastern region. So it's a good move by Jonathan, you know, to defend his personality and to defend who he is at the end of the day. So many people might not understand that at this point, you know, the agenda of the caliphate in the entire eastern bloc will definitely collapse.
Thank you.